Our notes today are going to be about simple interest and compound interest. Money, I see all these $100 bills. Okay, last year Julio deposited $150 into a savings account. After 1 year, the account has a balance of $157.50. How did Julio earn the extra money? Basically, he earned simple interest from the bank. Basically, it's compensation for keeping their money at the bank. They'll pay you for it because then they can take your money and send it or loan it out to somebody else. So how do we calculate it? There's a formula, and the formula is I equals PRT. Remember, P times R times T. Well, what do all those stand for? So I means your simple interest. P, basically how much your deposit has earned. P is your principal, how much money you start with or your deposit. R is rate, and what's really important, this is why this topic is in here, it's converted to a decimal. They'll give you a percent for each year, and you convert it to a decimal. And then T is time, and we always represent our times in years. You always have to convert them to years. So here's an example. So I always write down I equals PRT. He has $500 he wants to put into a savings account with a simple interest rate of 3%. If he leaves his deposit there for 5 years, how much money would he earn? So which variable is missing in here? What are we missing? Are we missing the interest? Oh, we know the principal is $500. We know that the rate is 3%, which we automatically converted to a decimal, 0.03. And then time is 5 years. So if we substitute all that in, it gives us the interest is $75. So Paul earns $75. So read the question carefully. That's how much money he would earn in simple interest. But how much would be in his bank account after 5 years? So what we would do there is take his initial deposit and we would add the simple interest to it. So that would give us a total of $575. Now Sierra deposited $1,000. She got a simple interest of 2%. Oh, wait a minute. She earns $120 in simple interest. How long was her money in the account? So this one's a little different, right? This also gives you a little clue. Simple interest should always be less than the principal. Okay, this gets involved with making sure you're looking at your percents and converting them to decimals correctly. So this time the principal is $1,000. We want to earn $120 in interest. Did we change the rate into a decimal? And time is what we're looking for. Time is what we're looking for. So if we substitute everything in, what will happen is you're looking for the time. Remember, look at how that percent's converted to a decimal. So we multiply those two together, and this is, we have an easy one-step equation, and then time comes out to be 6 years. Okay, example number 3. Carter this time put $800 into his savings account for 4 years and earned $160. What was his rate? So this is just a little different twist on it. So we look to make sure your simple interest is less than the principal. Principal is $800. We know the interest is $160. Years is 4. And then we're looking for the rate. So I've done one example of each kind. So we substitute everything in. This one here you have to pay attention to. After you substitute in everything, you also get a one-step equation. And then when you divide, you notice you get 0.05. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to convert that decimal to a percent. And we get 5%. So he earned 5% on his money. Okay. What is the amount of her initial loan for Rebecca? So her interest was $225. We're looking for P this time. We know that the rate, we must convert it to a decimal. And we know that the time is 5 years. So if After we substitute in everything, again, we create an easy one-step equation, and we find out that her principal is $1,500. So in all the examples that I just showed you, there's 4 variables, 4 unknowns. You will be given 3, and you have to find the third. You'll be given 3, and you have to find the fourth, Miss Perfect. So there's just this other little thing called compound interest. It's different because what happens if you read this problem, $2,000 loan, that would be your principal, 5% interest, which you convert that to a decimal. Oh, compounded yearly. We never used that word before. And then the years. How do we do this? So what I like about this here, the loan amount is important, the interest rates, compounding yearly, 5 years. When you have compound interest, what you have to do is make a chart. And if you notice, it's the same as simple interest, only you do them 1 year at a time. But the loan at the end becomes the beginning balance. Okay, so instead of you filling in the rest, I just wanted you to look at this. This isn't something that you'll be tested on, but it's something that you need to know. Simple interest versus compound interest. And if you look, the loan at the end becomes the next year's beginning balance. The loan at the end of year 1 is $2,205, and that becomes the start. And then you calculate your interest from there. Now you'll go back to the Google Classroom, and you will work in groups, and then you'll do your individual work.